Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopjana Vallabha Kevaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Kevaradari Yashodanandana Bhajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajadana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari. This morning we will be reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 24, text 74. The chapter is entitled Chanting the Song Sung by Lord Shiva, text 74. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nastresya Bhatresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavate Naistike Atedam Nityada Yukto Chapanna Vahita Puman Adshirashya apnoti Vasudeva Parayana Atedam Nityada Yukto Chapanna Vahita Pumam Adshirashya apnoti Vasudeva Parayana Atedam Nityada Yukto Chapanna Vahita Pumam Achirashya apnoti Vasudeva Parayana. Word for word translation. Ata, thus, idam, this, nityada, regularly, yuktaha, with great attention, japan, by murmuring, avaita, fully attentive, puman, a person, achirat, without delay, shreya, auspiciousness, apnoti, achieves, Vasudeva Parayana, one who is a devotee of Lord Krishna. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. A devotee of Lord Krishna whose mind is always absorbed in him, who with great attention and reverence chants this stotra prayer, will achieve the greatest perfection of life without delay. Purport. Perfection means becoming a devotee of Lord Krishna. As stated in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 1-28, Vasudeva Pradveda Vasudeva Paramaka. The ultimate goal of life is Vasudeva, or Krishna. Any devotee of Lord Krishna can attain perfection, material gains and liberation simply by offering prayers to him. There are many varieties of prayers to Lord Krishna chanted with great sages and great personalities such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Lord Krishna is known as Shiva Virinchinutam, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.33. Shiva means Lord Shiva, and Virinchi means Lord Brahma. Both of these demigods are engaged in offering prayers to Lord Vasudeva Krishna. If we follow in the footsteps of such great personalities and become devotees of Lord Krishna, our lives will become successful. Unfortunately, people do not know this secret. Nativitus Svartratim I Vishnum. They do not know that the real interest and the highest perfection of life is to worship Lord Vishnu, Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.31. It is impossible to become satisfied by trying to adjust the external energy. Without being a devotee of Lord Krishna, one can only be baffled and confused. To save living entities from such calamity, Lord Krishna points out in Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Bhaunam jananam mante jnanavama papachate vasdeva sarvamiti samatma sudurlava. After many births and deaths, a wise man surrenders unto me, knowing very well that I, Vasudeva, am everything. Such a great soul is very rare. So we can achieve whatever benediction we want simply by becoming devotees of Vasudeva. The verse once again. Atedam nityata yukto japanna vaita puman. Achira shreya apnoti Vasudeva parayana. Translation. A devotee of Lord Krishna whose mind is always absorbed in him, who with great attention and reverence chants this stotra prayer, will achieve the greatest perfection of life without delay. Om Jnana Timandasya Jnanjana Shlakya Saksaran Meritam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namah Chitchetaya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutaleshvaram Rupakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shigo Shiyuda Padakamalam Shigam Vaishnavamsha She Rupam Jagajatam Sakanaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivan Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakanalita Shivishakam Vitamsha Hey Krishna Karuna Sinudino Bandhu Jatpate Gopesha Gopra Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kansana Gauri Radhe Vrindavaneswari Vishabhani Sutta Devi Panamama Aripriya Vankha Kalptrabhasha Kepasan Vaivasha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Nama Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jai Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarane. With the blessings of devotees, I will try to say something on this verse. So, here in this chapter, Lord Shiva gives the Prashetas prayers, and after reciting these prayers, now he gives them a benediction. He explains the benefit of reciting this prayer. So the Prachetas had the intention to perform austerities in worship of the Supreme Lord. But until now, they have not done anything yet. But surprisingly, they have darshan of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a demigod. Demigods are devotees of Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the purport that demigods offer prayers to Lord Krishna. They glorify Lord Krishna. In the Brahma Samhita, we know that Lord Chaitanya found in South India the 50th chapter of the Brahma Samhita. That's chapter 50. So there are much more prayers which we don't know. But the Brahma Samhita is Lord Brahma offering prayers to Syama Sundar Bhagavan. So the demigods, they encourage the devotees of the Lord, that the devotees who have the intention to serve, they may not be on the highest platform, these demigods, but we see here also the Prashetas, they have the intention to serve. Lord Shiva comes and encourages them. So the devotees of the Lord, they do not need to go to demigods for anything. In the Bhagavatam, I think it's in the 2nd canto or in the 6th, it is stated that if you want good health, you can worship Surya, the sun. If you want to be a hero, you have to worship Lord Rudra. If you want to become learned, worship Lord Shiva. If you want a nice marriage, then you worship Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva. So all these demigods are mentioned and the result of worshipping them. But after mentioning this, the Srimad Bhagavatam gives a long verse. But if you really want the perfection of life, then you worship Lord Krishna. Because by worshipping the demigods, you get temporary results. That by worshipping Krishna, you get spiritual results. That if you worship the demigods, temporary results, but the motivation is usually different. If we worship the demigods, then we want something material in return, material motivation. If we worship Krishna in our pure condition, in pure consciousness, then we only want to please Krishna. So approaching demigods for devotees is not required. From this purport we can understand that simply by worshipping Krishna we can attain everything. So Lord Shiva recommends the Prashedas to chant this prayer in meditation on Lord Krishna, and you will attain all perfection. That, of course, we know the famous verse, Akama sarvakama vamoksha kama udarati tivrena bhakti yogina chaita purushamparam. Whether you are full of material desires, have no material desires, or desire liberation, by all means, with great force, one should worship the Supreme Lord by engaging in devotional service. So just as the Prashedas are encouraged by Lord Shiva and recommended to recite this prayer with full attention, in the same way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared in this Kali Yuga and has given another prayer. This is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is also prayer. And he has also given us that benediction to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and achieve all perfection. In the Shikshastikam is mentioned that Lord Shiva, in Shikshastikam is mentioned that the Lord has so many names, and there are no hard and fast rules for chanting these names. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is worshipped by performing the Sankirtan Jagya. Previously in the Vedic system, Jagyas were performed, and the Jagyas had to be performed in a very prescribed manner. They had to calculate the proper day, the proper time of the day, the proper place, in order for the Jagya to be successful. It had to be performed by saintly kings who were qualified to sponsor and arrange for Brahmins, qualified Brahmins. If the mantras chanted by the Brahmins were not perfect, the result would not come. So in Kali Yuga, these Vedic Jagyas don't work. You will not get the result that you are anticipating. But Lord Chaitanya says that for chanting the holy names, there are no hard and fast rules. You can chant anytime. Anytime you can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And you can get the result. The same result of benediction that Lord Shiva has given to the Prachetas, obtaining all perfection. So this is obtainable in this age by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Interestingly, in the purport of this verse today, Srila Prabhupada refers to a verse which is mentioned in the purport. It's here. Shiva Vrinshinutam is from the 11th canto. And that means the Lord is glorified by prayer, with prayers by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So in this verse, 11.533 of 11th canto, so this Shiva Vrinshinutam is coming from there. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj explains such as Shiva Vrinshinutam, Lord Shiva and Brahma glorified the Lord. This verse is just following the Krishna Varnam verse. And who is that Shiva Virinshi in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj explained that Advaitacharya is an incarnation of Sadashiva, and Haridas Thakur is Lord Brahma. They offer prayers to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the combined form of Radha and Krishna, and he specifically comes to deliver all fallen conditioned souls. Just like he delivered the leper Vasudev. Vasudev was suffering from leprosy. He was a very humble devotee. And he always chanted the names of Krishna, but his body was infected with sores, and there were worms within the sores. A very deplorable condition, factually. But Vasudev, when some of the worms fell out of the sores, he picked the worm up and put it back. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this place, and on one day he came to this place and he embraced Vasudeva, the leper. And when he embraced him, the devotee's leprosy disappeared. So he became completely cured, and he became very beautiful, handsome by the Lord's embrace. He fell down at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu And he became a little worried. He said, now my disease is cured, but I may become puffed up. Now I have this attractive body. It has no longer any disease. I may become attached, filled with ahankar, false ego. But Lord Chaitanya said, no, go to Vrindavan and chant Hare Krishna. There you will be saved of this illusion, thinking that I am this body. And thirdly, that is the problem of all conditioned souls in the material world. It is that illusion that I am this body. I can enjoy this body, or that I can manipulate the material energy in such a way that I become happy. So this is beautiful pastime of this Vasudeva, the leper, that is Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, and it demonstrates how just by chanting the holy name one can attain all perfection. So these Pashetas are encouraged by Lord Shiva, and that Srila Prabhupada in the Prabhupada writes this verse, Nate vitus vartratime vishnam durasye bharir artamanina. So this is from the 7th canto, chapter 5, that there Prahlad Maharaj has advised his father Hiranyakashipu, who did not like the advice. But yes, this verse here, because this prayer fixes the goal, that and this is important, being it helps us to become firmly fixed in our original position as a servant of the Lord. We have seen this Vandanam, these prayers, they are very powerful. Prayers are a way to connect with Krishna. That Snativitus Varteratim Vishnam. And this is a great problem in our society. Even the leaders don't know what's the goal in life. And one blind man, spiritually blind man, is leading another blind man, and they fall into a ditch. And that this is the very dangerous situation of our society. And we see that the Pashetas, they are performing austerities in the Vaishnava service. That we, in the 5th canto, there we hear the same thing. King Rishabhadev is advising his 100 sons to perform tapasya, that because otherwise, that if we strive for sense gratification, we can never attain the perfection of life. We become like the animals, the King Rishabhadev says, but one should go for that goal, that happiness, which is eternal, everlasting, and that is the perfection of devotional service. And that is the perfection that Lord Shiva is the benediction he gives. By performing devotional service, we become firmly situated in and fixed in the goal. And that's important. Without having this prayojan, this goal, the goal of loving Krishna, that one cannot be situated in his original spiritual position. And that's brings with this being situated as a servant of Krishna. This mood is very important. That when we chant the holy name, Rupa Goswami says, this chanting of the holy name is a service rendered with the tongue. It's a service rendered with the tongue for chanting this holy name, using the tongue to chant the holy name, of using the tongue to taste prasadam, but it's a service. So this three aspects of devotional service: understanding the goal. If we understand who Krishna is, we come to understand our position as a servant. And then one must understand the relationship with Krishna. These three aspects are very important, and that's called Sambandha Jnana. When I read Harinam Chintamani, I was surprised that, of course, it's written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but he makes Haridas Thakur speaking. It's a dialogue between, it's written in the form of a dialogue between Haridas Thakur and Lord Chaitanya. And Haridas Thakur says there that when one chants the holy name in Namabhas, then one is considered a Kanishta Adhikar. A Kanishta Adhikar chants the holy name in Namabhas. But now Namabhas means Anartha Nivritti. Namabhas, we attain Namabhas by chanting without offenses. That if one chants, gives up the offenses against the holy name, one enters Anartha Nivritti, or Namabhas. It means one who does not chant Namabhas, according to Haridas Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, is not considered even a Kanishta. And I found that interesting. Of course, we have to consider there are different definitions of Kanishta also in the Bhagavatam. But it struck me that Haridas Thakur was saying that in Harinam Chintamani. But then to bring this a bit further, the Haridas Thakur says that one can chant Namabhas by being situated in Sambandha Jnana. Sambandha Jnana means knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. And that brings us back to this verse today. Sambandha Jnana, the first condition to be rightly situated in one's devotional service, understanding the goal. And understanding the goal and then one's real interest. That's Srila Prabhupada writes here in the Parliament, knowing one's real interest. So that brings us to understanding our real interest. We want our interest to stop the cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. Our interest is reviving our spiritual body. Our interest is going back to the spiritual world and serve Krishna with love. So these are spiritual objectives, and they can only be attained when we have the goal, set the goal right. And that's the issue with many so-called spiritualists who are thinking that merging with Brahman is the goal, or getting liberated is the goal. But liberation is not the goal. Liberation is a stage in devotional service. Liberation means nistha, the end of anartha nivritti, when is liberated. Although in the Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, in the 2nd canto, chapter 10, I think verse 6 or something, that there a definition is given of liberation, and there it is said, real liberation is to be reinstated in one's svarup, one's spiritual form. So that goes further. That is higher. That is real liberation. Real liberation is self-realization. And getting liberation is not self-realization. It's a stage towards self-realization. And therefore this setting, this goal, is having the goal right is so important. And to get the goal right, because Lord Krishna says that also in Bhagavad Gita, in 5:4-9, Janma karma smedvyam yome veti tattva tyaktvam punarjaman naitamamichi sarina. If you know my activities, my nature and so on, Krishna says then, and my pastimes, then you don't take birth again. So if we know Krishna and we have the goal right, and we act towards attaining that goal in devotional service, we will come to the point that we get liberated, that we don't take birth again. So getting that goal right is so important. Not Devi to Svartagatimi Vishnu, because that was the point, that if the goal is not right, in the previous verse, Prahlad Maharaj said, Matirna Krishna Prato Vasuvatuva Bipyeta, yeah. Anyway, he says in the previous verse to his father, your inclination for Krishna consciousness will never take place, he says. Because you are fixed on the goal of sense gratification. And that sense gratification is always the same thing. And that is the position of most people in this world. That they are busy with sense gratification, getting happiness for the senses, for the mind. And that is their goal. And what does Krishna says about that in Bhagavad Gita 3:17, last part of the verse? One who lives only for the pleasure of the senses lives for nothing, Krishna says. In that sense, it is very important to get the goal right and to understand the goal. Therefore, we have the Bhagavatam. One of the essential verses is Eti Shamsakala Pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan. Krishna is the source of all the other incarnations. That understanding Krishna's position, that it is very difficult in many traditions. Also, they don't get it really right. That understanding what's Vishnu Tattva, and what is Jiva Tattva, that who are the demigods, and that is an issue. Like Lord Shiva is speaking here. There was a conversation with Prabhupada, and finally, this conversation is about the position of Lord Shiva. And finally, Prabhupada in that conversation said, no, Lord Shiva cannot give you liberation. And that is a bold statement. And we see also, when we look at the qualities of Lord Shiva, that we know Krishna has 64 qualities, his Vishnu Tattva expansion has 60 qualities, and Lord Shiva has 55 qualities. He has 5 qualities which living entities do not have. Like one quality I remember is all-pervading, but he doesn't have the quality to grant liberation. That's not there. So understanding Krishna's position and our position and the position of the demigods is essential. That we see that Hiranyakashipu, he was praying to Lord Brahma for benedictions. He wanted to become immortal, but Lord Brahma said, I myself not immortal. So that is his misconception. He thinks Brahma is a creator, he can grant me this benediction, but it's not the case. Of course, then he tried to adjust the situation. That the Hiranyakashipu, and he's asking indirectly so many things, not to be killed by any living entity created by you, by Brahma, not to be killed during the day, not during the night, not inside the house, outside the house, and so on. He tried to adjust the external energy. That Prabhupada says, trying to adjust external energy. But he says it's impossible to become satisfied. And that is what Prahlad points out to his father, that you are always full of anxiety, and you should give up that anxiety by going to Vraj and take shelter of Krishna. One cannot become satisfied by anything in this world. Because we are the higher energy, how can we get satisfaction from matter? It's just not possible. So without being a devotee of Lord Krishna, one can be baffled and only be baffled and confused. And that is what Krishna says also in Bhagavad Gita. That one who does not accept devotional service, all the knowledge that he does, all the austerities, will all be baffled. But some, after many, many lifetimes, come to the realization Vasudeva is the goal. That it takes for many, many lifetimes to come to that realization. But interesting, I always found is that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives all these processes of self of spirit for making spiritual advancement. He speaks about Jnana Yoga. He speaks about Astanga Yoga, and 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 so on. If Krishna is the goal, why is he mentioning all these things? He could have got straight to the point, say you surrender, you become my devotee, then the Bhagavad Gita would be shorter. But there are many reasons for that. Krishna is compassionate. And even if they don't accept him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he tries everyone to, on his level, to make advancement. And then after many, many lifetimes, they may come to that realization that he wants to encourage everyone. He wants to encourage those who want to merge with Brahman to make advancement. But hopefully they realize that their goal is only an intermediate goal. But is very compassionate. And it gives them the opportunity. And that's one aspect. But the other aspect is these are all these different yoga systems. They represent also stages which find in Bhakti Yoga. But in Bhakti Yoga, in our devotional service, the practice of the chanting of the holy name, the means and the goal are not different. And generally you go to these stages, because for us, when we come from Shraddha to Prema, if we come to Nishta, that we have attained the intermediate goal of the Jnanis and the Yogis who wants to merge with Brahman. And when we make further advancement to our Sakti, that's Paramatma realization of the Yogis. But then we have to go further and develop love for Bhagavan, who is non-different from Krishna in the heart, but Bhagavan is the source of Paramatma. Paramatma is his expansion. And the devotee has correct knowledge. A correct knowledge which is found especially in our tradition and is explained so nicely by Jiva Goswami, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And in many other traditions, it's not clear that there are still doubts, impurities. They don't have the goal right. Like even in many bhakti traditions, Vishnu is the goal. They don't understand Krishna and Vishnu, how it relates. That there is confusion many times. But yesterday we had here in Ottawa an evening program, and one devotee said, he spoke to me and said, I'm from India, I'm since 7 years in Ottawa, he said. But when I came in contact with the devotees, everything became clear. Before, we were confused about who are the demigods with Krishna, how is it fitting together. And he said to me that in India everyone is confused about that. I found that quite a revelation. But I think that is true. Prabhupada's books, even in India, gives clarity to the people. what is the goal? They set it right, and it's so powerful, Prabhupada's books, because he's self-realized that that we Prabhupada's position is really very special. That when the reporter asked Prabhupada what was the earliest time you remember you became Krishna conscious, and Prabhupada replied, I don't remember any time I was not Krishna conscious. But that's an amazing statement. Yeah, everyone is born in ignorance in this world, but Prabhupada says, no, I don't remember any time. That's a special position, and Prabhupada's teachings are so clear. He repeats the previous acharyas, but he has this quality to make it very, very clear in simple words, so that even fools like me can understand something of it. Anyway, any comments, questions, corrections?
Srila Prabhupada from the very beginning, even Srila Bhaktisiddhanta saw him the first time they met, that here's a person who can explain Krishna consciousness to anyone, even the people in the West and the English-speaking countries, who don't know anything.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada had the ability to bring things down, explain things in such a way that we could figure out how to apply them in our life, even in the situation we're in. I lament greatly that Prabhupada can't speak to us about the internet and AI and all those things, because computers were just starting when Prabhupada. I was just hearing a lecture yesterday when Prabhupada was talking about how computers make people out of employment. That now they're inventing these computers, and they can do the work of thousands of men, and the result will be that those men will be out of employment, and then they'll do all nonsense because they won't be able to work. And what to speak of now, it's just like, it's magnified so greatly from when Srila Prabhupada was here. He had that ability to be able to almost like see into the future and understand the gravity of how to apply spiritual life in the situation that's evolving in Kali Yuga. Very unique quality.
Yes, sure. Thank you. Very beautiful comment.
Similarly, Prabhupada was so much against the tractor, because the tractor put people out of work. Nobody was out there actually plowing the fields with the oxen, and it's been well documented even by materialists that if the cows and the oxen are allowed to graze over a field and fertilize it that way, and then it gets plowed by the and with the hoofs going into the ground and everything, then actually the ground becomes much more fertile than what they're doing nowadays. Where they have these huge tractors and they just go in and decimate the land really, and then pour all these chemicals into it so that the plants can grow, and so many people are not engaged in the basic thing of just growing the food, and so now you do have all these people just engaged in so much nonsense that really doesn't get us anywhere. You know, this artificial intelligence is not really intelligent. It's just because intelligence is actually discerning, you know, good from bad. Artificial intelligence just spews back at you what is out there on the internet. It's just sort of a trove of information, but it's not intelligence. And real intelligence means that, you know, discerning what is matter, what is spirit.
I read an article yesterday that the government officials are using AI now to help them make their inter-country decisions, how to manage their relationships with other countries. They're using AI to assist them in making those decisions.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's really. I mean, in one sense, it's going to really defeat everybody. You know, everybody becomes useless practically. You know, the computers will be doing everything, and it's so nonsensical. And then nobody will be able to eat because computers, unfortunately, cannot plow the land.
Every year I'm going to Iloy in Bulgaria at the Black Sea, and there are two brothers there who have a farm. Not really a farm, they have greenhouses, and on a big surface, big greenhouses. And they have 16 cows, and they don't use a tractor, but they use the cow dung for the greenhouses, and it's amazing what beautiful, so many vegetables and big and beautiful that, and they are selling it in the market in Burgas, but that is an example how they use the cows, the cow dung. There is no tractor, but they have beautiful harvest a few times a year from these greenhouses. That it's beautiful. It can certainly Prabhupada saw these things. And this artificial intelligence. Yeah. One should never blindly accept what GPT gives you. Because
even our intelligence is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Unless we become Krishna conscious, we are also artificially intelligent, right?
Yeah, sure. That it's superficial intelligence, thinking you are the body. That real intelligence is comes when what we are discussing today, when we get the goal right, and that requires spiritual intelligence just to get that point. It's so difficult for many.
When computers first started, there was an expression, garbage in, garbage out, that if you put junk into your computer, then you'll get junk out of your computer. So, but our minds are like that also. If we put garbage in, we get garbage out. And, in the AI, everything goes in, and then it all gets mixed up, and then it comes out. So there's one devotee, he's probably here on this call, on this class. And he was telling me that when you search AI, like something from the Bhagavatam, it'll give you an answer very quickly, but it doesn't only give you an answer from Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, it gives you an answer from any information that has that name on it, Bhagavatam from, so you get a salad of different opinions without the clarity of where they're coming from.
Yeah.
It almost makes it worse because you don't know what your source is.
Yeah, because there are also impersonalist commentators on the Bhagavata. So That's very dangerous.
Yeah, I was just reading this. There was a bit of a discussion on Facebook, I think it was, and I hardly ever go to Facebook, but I just happened to see this, and it's interesting because on Ram Nomi, this kind of came up that Tulsi Das and his Ram Charitamana, and
Ramcharita Manas.
yeah, Ramacharita Mana, yeah, and then Prabhupada was saying that actually the whole sampradaya that they've kind of fallen into is impersonal, and that the bhakti is really just to bring one to the point of the impersonal understanding, and so Prabhupada really did not approve of Tulsi Das's understanding.
Yeah.
And yet so many Indian people really latch onto it and they defend it greatly.
Because it's in Hindi and not in Sanskrit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that we learned also in the Bhaktivedanta college about different bhakti traditions. And some bhakti traditions have the goal, think that Brahman is the highest. And they come like this Ram Bhaktas you mentioned. They come to Vrindavan, they have tilak like us, they are chanting the holy name, or they are chanting the name of Ram, and we think they are devotees, but factually they are impersonalists. There is also a tradition of a lady who is famous in India, that I forgot her name, but there are a number of traditions like that in India.
How do you have bhakti, impersonal bhakti? Can you explain that? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, but the thing is, they see like impersonalists many times do. They are worshipping 5 deities.
Yeah, Panchapashana, but the conception of having love, which is what bhakti is, loving service even. How do you have loving service to an imperson?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's sort of like my understanding is that I become, we're praying Hare Krishna, oh Radharani, please engage me in your service, and that's all that we want. Whereas these other ones are saying, please engage me in your service, and I will serve you and everything, so that I can become one with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's just at the end. It just turns. Let me serve you. Let me serve you. Let me serve you, so I can become one with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's anyway. Thank you. It was nice to be with you. I have another Bhagavatam class starting in 5 minutes for D-Land in Florida. That is the internet world today. Sannyasis don't only preach at the place where they are, but
what to do?
No more traveling. You just have to go on different.
Just have good internet.
Yeah.
I heard one sannyasi say that we're so attached to having good internet. When we go back to Godhead, we're going to say to at the pearly gates, is there good internet here? And if they say no, we're going to say, sorry, I don't want to come.
Yeah, it's true. A good internet, that's a blessing for sannyasis too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shai Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Shai Prabhupada.